Hey everybody, and welcome to Don't Copy That Floppy. I'm your host Lex.
I'm your other host Dan. And we are your weekly video game news podcast on Chipbit Radio, chipbit.net. Normally we broadcast 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday nights. This is a Saturday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. But we're here, so enjoy it. We had to delay the show from yesterday, so we are just doing a little makeup today because there's lots of interesting stuff to talk about. We didn't want to push it all back.
Oh my gosh, what is there to talk about today?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. We got to talk about Keiji Inafune's Kickstarters and some hubbub around those right now. We got to talk about some other upcoming games that are going to be going into development maybe. We have some industry news about Sony, some industry news about Nintendo, specifically about the NX console, which we kind of talked about the past couple weeks a little bit.
There's just more and more rumors floating around.
Yeah. I found a little interesting story about China, the Chinese game industry, which has been a news piece for several months now, with the companies trying to develop a console for the Chinese market and things like that. Got some info on Half-Life 3. The game everybody's been waiting for.
Forever.
A little interesting thing about the cancellation of Silent Hills, and then just some other info of upcoming games that we'll be releasing. And we'll probably end off with a look at what's coming out in the next couple weeks. So, without further ado, let's talk about Mega Man Legends' spiritual successor, Project Red Ash, Project Redash. The Indelible Legend.
The, quick background. The guy who made Mega Man...
Keiji Inafune.
...was like, hey, you guys, I want to make this game called Mighty Number 9. You should fund it.
I want to make this game called... that's not called Mega Man.
But is Mega Man.
But it's Mega Man, though. Because Comcast. Capcom won't make it.
Comcast would do that, too.
Comcast would probably not make Mega Man
They also suck. But no, so... He had a very successful Kickstarter.
Yes.
Mighty Number 9 has still not come out yet?
It's been in development.
Yeah.
And I've got a story regarding that right after this to talk about as well.
So before Mighty Number 9 can even be released, before fans could know if their investment was worth it or not, he starts another Kickstarter for a different game.
A spiritual successor to Mega Man Legends, which was a third-person, action-adventure type game.
Nothing like other Mega Man.
Oh, well, this Mega Man doesn't have a helmet, you see. He has anime hair instead. And he talks more. So, this game, it looked unlikely that it would be hitting its goal, and actually now I want to check what it's at. Yeah, it still looks unlikely that it's going to hit its goal, because there's 41 hours left, and it is at just shy of 500,000 out of its $800,000 goal. Now this game, there was some hubbub when it got announced on here, because a lot of people did want a successor to Mega Man Legends, because Mega Man Legends 3 never got made. It was kind of teased, I guess, and then Capcom dropped the project, and a lot of people who liked the Mega Man Legends series were very upset, and were always holding out hope that it would come back in some form or another. So this seems like a good thing. The results of the Kickstarter, however, kind of seem like maybe there wasn't that much of a demand for Mega Man Legends.
No, really.
It's a vocal minority kind of thing, I guess. At the same time, some of it could also be, like you mentioned, people haven't really seen if Mighty Number 9 was worth it or not yet. So it's hard to kind of put your faith in this.
Yeah, this was...
when he hasn't even delivered his first product yet.
It was so dumb for... I'm sorry, what? Inafune?
Inafune, yeah.
To do this Mega Man Legends...
The cat is opening a door.
Oh, god damn it. To do this Mega Man Legends sort of...
Seemed appropriate.
Game at this time.
Yeah.
Because if he had waited until after My Number 9 was out...
And it was a big success.
He would have easily funded this project. Yeah.
But this just this just makes people uncomfortable. This makes me... I saw this and my immediate feeling was like, ooh, this is a bad move. Like, I don't like that he's already asking for more money for another game.
Yeah.
When we don't even know if Mighty No. 9's good.
Now, we know, because we know a little bit about game development, that he's probably already, and we discussed this last time,
done with his part on Mighty No.
All the stuff he's going to work on Mighty No. 9 already finished. So it totally makes sense for him to move on to the next project, but again, like, the PR angle of it doesn't work.
Yeah. Because those last couple months are usually just printing the game or getting the game ready for distribution in some way or another. It's not really like, you're not still building the game at that stage for the most part. Except for probably certain indie games and things like that, where it's kind of a different business climate. So the interesting thing, though, in an article from July 30th on Polygon, is that the developer, Inafune, posted an update to Kickstarter that says it's official. Red Ash, the Calcanon incident, is go for full development, along with ports to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Because apparently Concept, that their Inafune's company, has teamed up with a Chinese game company called Fuse Entertainment to help fund the development of this. This is the first 8-hour chapter of the game. So basically, regardless of whether this Kickstarter succeeds, the game's gonna get made.
Yeah, that's a strange...
But if the Kickstarter doesn't succeed, they don't get any of that money. Which would mean that this Chinese company is giving them all the money.
It's weird.
It's really weird.
And you'd also think that if they don't succeed in the Kickstarter, that would...
show this company that nobody cares enough?
Yeah, and then the Chinese company would divest from them.
Yeah, because this is the thing. It's not like it's not like Fuse Entertainment went on Kickstarter and was like, here's $300,000 to finish your goal. They just said, like, oh, we're gonna do it. So what's the Kickstarter doing now? Like... I mean, I'm assuming if it did get fully funded on Kickstarter in the next, 40 hours, all that money would then be able to go to, like, stretch goal equivalent types of things. Yeah. But it's not going to get funded, which means they're not going to get any money from Kickstarter. So this seems bizarre to me. The estimate for the game's release date is July 2017. So we don't know, like, will this change that at all? Having this other company helping them work on it. Concept have said that any extra funds, that if they get any extra funds from Kickstarter, they will be used for extra content.
But they won't.
But yeah, and they haven't posted up-to-date stretch goals with what Fuse Entertainment's involvement's going to change. It's weird. It's very weird, and it's very weird that this came in so late in their Kickstarter.
Yeah, I think that's the weirdest part to me.
Because it's like it leaves them no time to actually do any of those.
Yeah. So this is just another thing. We were already kind of iffy about this Kickstarter.
And I'm way more iffy about it now.
Yeah, and it's sad because that makes me more iffy about Mighty No. 9 when I hear stuff like this. Because I'm like, Inafune, do you not know how to, like, manage this stuff? Because that makes me not confident that you're going to release this game that you already Kickstarter funded.
Well, it's funny you say that, because Mighty No. 9 might not be coming out in September 2015.
What? I could never have seen this coming.
In an article from today, retail listings for Mighty No. 9 reverted to a placeholder date for 2016 on certain shops. Best Buy, Amazon, and GameStop, which are going to sell the console versions of the game, now list it with either a December 31st, 2016 placeholder or a not yet announced launch date. Where back in Deep Silver had announced that it would be launching on September 15th back at the end of April. So this is a big change. It went from having a very specific release date that is a month and a half away to placeholder dates for next year.
Yeah. You goofed, Inafune.
And apparently, Game Informer reported that GameStop, who owns the magazine, if they were told to change this date, it would be a move by the publisher. So this means that the console publisher, Deep Silver, would have had to tell them like, you need to change to a placeholder date. Which would mean that there's definitely... If that's the case, then something's wrong. Yeah. And there's some reason why they can't ship the game. The whole move, it's kind of suspicious, and apparently a lot of supporters, unsurprisingly, are really mad about it.
I would be mad,
and I think that they have right to be. Because this game was without a release date for quite a while, too. It was very like, well, we don't really know. So when it finally got that date, everyone was like, oh, good, great, we're gonna get it. And in light of all this stuff with the Red Ash Kickstarter, that's, like, now we don't even know if Mighty Number 9's coming out this year.
Oh, good. You can't see, but I'm just shaking my head.
He's shaking his head really disdainfully. So much disapproval. Like, I'm questioning Keiji Inafune's ability to manage these projects.
And it seems, well, from what we see from Red Ash stuff, it seems like he's just he just thought that he could handle all this extra stuff and put more on his plate. When he couldn't, he pulled them all on you. He did pull them all on you. I mean, they're probably delaying Mighty Number 9 so you can plant trees and watch them grow. Oh my god. It's an important feature that they almost forgot. But they need to make the game shorter and less satisfying before it releases quick. But this is especially disappointing because Mighty Number 9 it was just such a successful Kickstarter. And it's a big deal. Like, Kickstarter, I think everybody's been waiting for the first big failure out of Kickstarter game development. But what about Yogg's Ventures? We're not going to talk about that. We're just going to pretend that didn't happen. We're not going to talk about that one. But no, I think if this doesn't do well, or if another very high-profile Kickstarter that we talked about around E3, the Shenmue 3 Kickstarter, if that doesn't come together, or Yooka-Laylee, or... I have a lot of faith in Yooka-Laylee, I do too, because I like those guys at Rare, so I'm crossing my fingers. If they just make, like, literally Banjo-Kazooie, we're fine. They just reskin the original Banjo-Kazooie. That's fine. That's completely fine. And then Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night. Yeah. Is another high-profile one that, like, needs to kind of succeed to prove this stuff. And up until now, like, we've had a lot of good successes. Like, Shovel Knight was a big success, and lots of smaller games than that were also... They came out, they were good. Mm-hmm. They were worth the money. But these really high-profile ones that are being made by, like, experienced game developers who've been in the industry for a long time, these are the ones that are kind of... It's a different story, because, like, this isn't an indie studio. Really. This is Keiji Inafune. And it's weird that these people are tripping all over themselves in these instances, because they're the people with industry experience who should totally know how to do this. Yeah. Like Molyneux and, Tim Schafer? Not Tim Schafer. Tim Schafer did have some goofs. Yeah. But overall, I think he pulled it out. His game came out? Yeah. Yeah. But no, Molyneux's, was it Goddess? I want to say it was Goddess. Oh, Goddess, yeah. And all the goof-ups you made, I'm like, dude, come on! But we've talked about that guy in the past. Who won the contest? Molyneux doesn't. Nope. And I think that we have, there actually already has been evidence of high-profile Kickstarters that have totally fallen flat, like the Ouya fell totally flat. Very true. So I guess it becomes more of a question of how many Kickstarters are going to fall flat before people start being like, I don't know if I'm going to give money to this. Yeah. And that would just be sad because... And it's not to say, like, we shouldn't linger on the negative too much, because there are plenty of really good ones. Yeah, well, that's what I was going to get to, is it's sad because once people start going, I don't want to give my money to this, that's going to have a ripple effect to all the indie titles that have proven they can do this. That's true. People are going to be more hesitant to give money to these projects. Yeah, like, overall. In general. Which could mean that some games that would have been really good might just not get funded. Like, Night Trap. Oh, Night Trap! Night Trap! I bet Night Trap would have come out on time. I mean... I don't think Night Trap would have come out on time. I mean, it should have, because all they were doing was, like, using the uncompressed video of the original game. It was easy. It would have been easier to make than the original game. It would have been so easy to make.
It would have been the easiest thing in the world to make.
And they asked for like way too much money for it. Oh my god, what a nightmare that is!
I would have kicked in enough money to get the Scat edition. The official Scat operative.
Oh no!
Hey, if they had a version that came with like a Scat T-shirt or something, I would have considered.
Speaking of old games that nobody plays anymore,
yeah. My favorite.
Harebrained Schemes, who's a developer who made the Shadowrun Returns game, which was awesome.
Yeah, that was supposed to be quite good.
They did a really good job with it, especially for like an indie game. It's really nice. They announced that they're working on a new project.
Oh wait, get ready for it. What is it? What's the new project?
BattleTech.
So sweet.
For those who don't remember, which is probably most of you, BattleTech was actually the precursor to MechWarrior.
Yes, MechWarrior had a precursor.
And it was BattleTech. And in BattleTech, the only difference is that the mechs look more humanoid than the chicken walkers that
all those chicken walkers.
I prefer the humanoid ones, actually, because they look... Because they remind me like the Jaegers in Pacific Rim.
That's very
me
true.
Think more of BattleTech stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
But BattleTech was originally a minis game.
Yes,
I think. I'm pretty sure.
I believe so. Yeah, there's a card game too.
Oh yeah. I forgot about the card game.
Totally still own like a bunch of those cards somewhere. I don't know how to play it.
No. And it started getting video game adaptations in 1988.
Yep.
As turn-based
most famous
games.
of which being, or I guess after that, then MechWarrior was inspired by it. As like a third or first-person action game, sim game.
Yeah.
And MechWarrior 2 in particular was like a big deal as like a PC game when it came out. It was super nice looking and advanced. Now it looks like super jank.
Oh, it's garbage.
Yeah, but like man, when that game came out, oh baby.
It was the. Oh no.
This was a 1988 PC game.
Yeah.
Think about that. It was a PC game in 1988. That was a winner. But it's going to be coming to... There's going to be a Kickstarter due to launch this autumn for another turn-based strategy mech game in the BattleTech universe. So, look forward to that. As long as it ends up looking good.
I have a lot of faith in Harebrained
because they did such a good job on Shadowrun.
Yeah, and Shadowrun Returns was kickstarted.
Yep,
and they pretty much delivered on everything they said they were going to deliver.
So hopefully people will think along those same lines and say, well, they've already done it, and as long as they're not asking for like an absurd amount of money. Which makes, to cite the studio that made Total Annihilation, Planetary Annihilation, and then tried to do Human Resources, and asked for quite a lot of money, and didn't get it for that one, I believe.
No, they did not.
Yeah. It kind of makes me think of that a little bit.
Yeah, we have yet to see how much Harebrained is going to ask for, but hopefully they don't overshoot.
Yeah. So we'll cross our fingers.
Because I'd love to see them come out with another revitalization of an old game.
I'm looking forward to Descent. The Descent Kickstarter, because that got funded barely. And that's kind of a revival of a game that I played a ton as a little kid. So I'm looking forward to that. If that game got funded by the skin of its teeth, I was really happy.
So let's move on from Kickstarter news
to miserable news. This is I don't even really want to talk about this, but I feel like we should, because modern gaming climate. This is what it is. This is what our life is now. It's Angry Birds 2.
We learned on July 31st that Angry Birds 2 was downloaded 1 million times. In 12 hours.
And guess how long people have played the series total? Like, all the people playing it, guess how long it's been?
How?
1 million years of playtime on this series.
That's crazy. Those birds could have evolved into anthropomorphic birds in that amount of time.
Oh, God. Horrible. So, the first game came out in 2009. Wow, it's that old.
Isn't that when we were discussing Minecraft the other day? Isn't that what Minecraft game was?
I believe so, yes, actually. Go figure, huh?
Yeah. Because they had similar cultural impacts, I feel like.
Yes, they definitely did. So, yeah, Angry Birds 2's out. Don't buy it.
Please don't.
Ignore it. Please pretend it doesn't exist.
If anything, like, this company doesn't need your money.
They don't. They really don't.
Now, we had been talking...
I want them to crash and burn.
We had done several articles as to how they were downsizing.
They were.
And how they wanted to make an Angry Birds movie, and that was looking uncertain because they weren't sure if they were going to have the money.
They needed to release this.
They need to release this.
This is a kick in the butt to steal your money.
And this is probably assured that there's going to be that movie.
It's working. It's almost like consumers are very easy to manipulate. Because that's all they're doing. They're manipulating you. I can't even say it. They're manipulating you. Wake up, sheeple.
Gamergate.
I sound like such a douche saying all this stuff, but seriously, don't buy Angry Birds 2. Down with the establishment. I hate it. Speaking of selling a lot.
Oh.
How many PS4s did Sony sell?
Oh my gosh, so many.
Last quarter. So many!
We found out on July 30th.
Yes.
Via Destructoid. At least I found out via Destructoid.
Yeah.
That, let's see. The Sony PlayStation 4 sold more than the Xbox One and the 360 combined last quarter. Now, this was only interesting news that I wanted to bring up because we've talked about this stuff in the past. And when the PS4 and the Xbone both launched, the PS4 was like miles ahead of it in terms of sales. And then as time went on, the Xbone started to build up some momentum and finally overtake the PS4 in sales. And I thought, okay, well, I guess that's what's going to happen. But no, the PS4s go back into the lead, which sort of just convinces me that, it's a better system.
Yeah.
Because people liked it before, they liked it more originally. Then they were like, let's give the Xbone a chance. And then they're like, let's go back to the PS4.
It's better.
So Sony sold 3 million PlayStation 4 consoles between April and June 2015. With more than 25 million PS4 sales since the console launched in November.
Yep.
Of 2012.
Oh,
that was way longer ago than I thought.
Yeah, me too.
Wow.
Jeez.
Oh my god.
I just got mine. Like in January.
But yeah, so this is cool. They're doing better. Yay.
They're doing good. The PS3 and the Vita were not on that financial report, but that's not very surprising.
Because those we know have not been selling as well for them.
But, Lex, the Vita means life. Did you know? Yeah, it's a shame. But, I mean, other handhelds are just not meant to be in the Nintendo-dominated climate of now. And,
at least it wasn't another N-Gage.
And I mean, oh god. Oh.
It could have always been worse.
Could have always been the N-Gage. Yeah. And, PS3 is obviously, not the big seller anymore, because it's quite old at this point, actually.
Mm-hmm. It may be a supercomputer, but it's not that great.
Yeah. Well, you need 50 of them to be a supercomputer.
But if nobody buys them, their prices will go down, and then you can buy 50 of them.
More government supercomputers.
Yeah, you have a supercomputer in your basement, and then you can invent artificial intelligence.
Fantastic.
The future.
I'm looking forward to that.
I can't wait.
Skynet. I have an up-to-the-minute update about the Red Ash Kickstarter.
Oh. Well. We reported on this earlier in the show, but let's go back to it.
This just, popped up on the side of that other article. And I was like, oh. So, Red Ash, the Kickstarter, is being, has secured a publisher, mid-campaign, a Chinese company called Fuse Entertainment. And then now the Kickstarter is solely being used for extra funds and content, and the community does not like that.
No.
As of yesterday's announcement, the campaign has had about $4,000 in pledges pulled from it.
Oh.
Just flat out pulled. Which includes the pledge of the person who wrote this article. And They have put up their Kickstarters. Their Kickstarters. I'm all
You're just a
I'm all feet
goofy
today.
goose today.
All left feet.
Yeah.
I don't even know what I'm saying. A goofy goose. Are you kidding me? They announced stretch goals. However, these stretch goals pretty much start at $800,000. So, we're not going to see any of them in the next 41 hours. It seems Fuse has funded a chunk of them, as we can see.
Now, it's interesting because on the one hand, if you're a developer trying to get this game funded, and a company comes to you mid-campaign and says, "Hey, we'll just foot the bill. You've proven to us that you're popular enough that we have faith in you. And we will foot the bill." The developer then would, if I was a developer, my immediate reaction would be, "Yay, awesome, excellent."
Yeah.
But then you have to stop and think, "Wait, maybe I shouldn't do this because this is totally going to undermine all of the goodwill I generated from this Kickstarter."
Yeah.
But they didn't think about that.
Nope.
So they got problems.
I would not be surprised if a few other people start pulling their pledges before the Kickstarter's over. And beyond that, I mean, it doesn't look like it's going to get funded.
I mean, if people are pulling their pledges, it's probably making negative money at this point.
And at this point, the game's going to come out anyway. So I don't see there's no reason for people to care anymore.
Nope.
Really. Because it's not going to hit 800,000 no matter what anyone does at this point. Just won't. So, that's that. How's about that Nintendo NX?
The Nintendo Cross? Or the N Cross?
Nintendo Cross!
I don't know if they're actually going to call it that.
I don't either. I mean, it's not a terrible name, but it might be too close to Xbox.
Yeah.
They don't want another X in there.
Yeah.
They'll call it the Nintendo Poo. And everyone will be like, "Why'd you do that, Nintendo?" And they're like, "No, you don't understand. You'll like it eventually, just like with the Wii."
We did all make fun of the Wii's name when it first came out.
Yeah.
And then we liked it, and then we all super made fun of the Wii U's name when it first came out, and then we didn't like it.
I like it.
Sure you do.
But that's because my favorite video game of all time is on it.
Just that one game.
Just that one game. No, there's other good stuff too. But there's particularly that one game.
Yeah. We got a lot of rumors about the NX.
Yes. A lot. There's a lot to go through here.
The one that... There was a news story that Rooster Teeth's news organization.
Yeah.
They did a video on this.
It's related to Dragon Quest 11.
And I think that was the rumors that struck me as the most interesting, even though they didn't directly relate to the NX. I mean, they sort of did, but it was kind of you get to it in a roundabout way. So the way it happened was that Dragon Age 11 was talked about.
Right.
They were talking about how, it's going to come out for 3DS. Mm-hmm. And they showed what gameplay was going to look like, all this stuff. It was interesting the way they're using the two screens. I guess the top one is the third-person 3D view, and then the bottom one is a top-down, traditional JRPG thing. So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Anyway, the guys who are making Dragon Quest also said, hey, this is also going to come out on the Nintendo NX. And that led a bunch of people, specifically from the know, to think, oh, that means X, Y, and Z, meaning that Dragon Quest XI was made in the Unreal 4 engine.
So that means that the NX must be able to run Unreal 4.
And that's a big deal.
Because that means it probably will not be as hardware hindered as the Wii and Wii U were.
Yeah. And that's been a big problem for Nintendo for a while, because they've always thought, okay, we're going to do, some really interesting design concepts for the console, but we're going to sacrifice horsepower to do that. And that's fine for Nintendo games, because when they're developing their own games, they're cool with that.
And for the most part, they never go for hyper realism on their graphics. So they can do more stylized look with a lower power console.
But that hurts them because a lot of third party companies can't make ports because they won't run. or they just like don't want to develop for it because a lot of the engines they'd be using to develop in won't
it's
run.
different. It's much different from developing for another console.
So
they don't want to bother integrating like the weird controls in some deeper way.
So there's just lots of disincentives for third-party companies to make Nintendo games, and as a result, as we've seen with the Wii and the Wii U,
there's not a lot of third-party support.
Yeah,
beyond like those terrible like shovelware titles.
Yeah,
like Carnival games.
And you have your once in a while that ray of sunshine, like Wonderful 101. When you get a third-party company,
it's so good.
When you get a third-party company that knows how to deal with it, but they're the exception.
I want to bathe in copies of Wonderful 101.
Like Scrooge McDuck bathing in money.
That game is so much video game. I can't even handle it.
So if the NX can indeed run Unreal 4 and can run it fairly well, then that totally incentivizes a lot of other companies.
You mentioned, will it be called the NX? They do mention here that internally the GameCube was known as Project Dolphin. The Wii was known as the Revolution. And the Wii U was Project Cafe.
The Wii U is just the same as the Wii. Why is it so differently named? I mean, it's not the same. There is a tablet.
There's a tablet.
But that still is a very different name.
It's very different.
So the NX is its code name?
Yes, for now. It seems that there's still people thinking that this might just be a handheld console as well.
That's interesting because that's not
or a hybrid device.
It would be. We have heard a lot of reports in the past that it would be a hybrid, and that makes sense considering how much Nintendo loves the handheld market.
Yeah,
but I assume that it's not going to be entirely a handheld console.
Also, that Nintendo has been doing. They're moving into smartphone games, so it'd be weird for them to just focus entirely on like doing another handheld system as well.
Yeah,
because that's a good home for that kind of handheld game already. I will say, Monster Hunter Cross has been confirmed to be the last Monster Hunter game on the 3DS. And given that game series, like, that's like Call of Duty in Japan. You get a Monster Hunter every year.
Unlike Call of Duty, it's fun.
So that would suggest that there's going to be some replacement for the 3DS coming along soon. Because they gotta get their Monster Hunter.
It's true.
They gotta get that Monster Dosh.
And they do release a new 3DS as often as people release new Call of Duty games. So.
I want the 2D 3DS.
Light.
XI. XI? It's extra interesting. Can you figure it out?
You were upset that we only had one joystick last time. Now we've got 3.
What now, gamer? Find a way to use that.
There's an extra peripheral touchscreen. There's 3 screens.
You plug it into the back, and it dangles from the system by a wire.
Much like the classic Nintendo controller out of the nunchuck from the Wii U.
Don't forget, just put an extraneous like horn on the side of the system with a D-pad on it that you don't use for anything.
Yeah.
Just like the N64.
Because people love the N64. Oh, I love the mock-up logos for the NX that look like the N64.
I do too, actually.
Yeah, they look really
Part of me wants that to just be the real logo.
Sweet.
Because the N64 had a cool logo. It's a good logo. Just like the PlayStation 1 had that cool... Yeah. It's the same deal.
It's very similar.
PlayStation 1 has like the most memorable startup screen. The little PS1 logo with like... boo sound.
I always think of the Genesis stuff.
I don't know the Genesis one. I never like played Sega Genesis.
It's not necessarily... I think it's more the games that were made by Sega, but it's the Sega...
Oh, that one?
Yeah.
Sega! Where the Genesis is super, super sick, not terrible at all sound card.
Oh, it's so good.
Just get static blowout every time Sonic moves, like puts his foot on the ground. Okay. When's this thing coming out? They said they weren't going to talk... Satoru Iwata said that it's not going to be talked about until 2016. Satoru Iwata is no longer with us.
It was his last wish that it wouldn't be talked about.
So, I don't know if anything is going to change.
No, I'm sure they're going to respect that, because that's how they are.
But how will his passing affect the general development process of the console as well, though?
I mean, yeah, we don't know how far along they are with it. there is speculation, again, due to that Dragon Quest game, that it's going to be coming out fairly soon, which means that we would assume that Iwata actually oversaw most of the development.
There's rumors, apparently, that it could hit as early as July of next year.
Yeah, well, I think that's what the part of the Dragon Quest thing is.
Yeah. What specs will it have? Well, it'll probably be able to run Unreal 4. It's a brand new concept. That's what Nintendo said. This is all off an article on Gizmodo UK from a date.
I believe it's from the 30th.
Yeah, I think so. So, what is this gonna mean? Like, because the Wii and Wii U had these new kind of control schemes, so the immediate assumption would be yet another new control scheme. But, I mean, I don't know.
If it comes out really soon, is that weird? Because then it seems like they're abandoning the Wii U, which they should totally do. But
they probably should.
Yeah.
I mean, Iwata previously said, it's dull to only expand upon existing hardware. In some shape or form, we're always thinking about how we want to surprise players, as well as our desire to change each person's video gaming life. So they clearly don't want to just do motion controls again.
And there's nothing shocking about that statement.
No,
they're
that's
always
Nintendo.
Yeah.
It's been described as a dedicated gaming platform, so it's still not going to be like a multimedia deal like the Xbone or the PS4.
Good.
That's fine. I don't know what else there's to say about it. People are hoping it's going to be reason-free. Some rumors were around that it might be running the Android operating system.
I highly doubt
that. I don't really think so either, but it's all weird rumors and hearsay at this point. Mm-hmm. So we really still don't know a lot that's concrete. But obviously Nintendo's been talking to third-party developers about it already with the Dragon Quest info. So we will see.
I mean, I would love to have Nintendo make another console that pushes the envelope in terms of how you interact with it, but also has third-party content.
Also, has like more up-to-date hardware.
Yeah,
having all that in one would be great.
Mm-hmm.
Like if the Wii U had the power of like the PS4, that'd be cool.
That'd be really cool.
That'd be really cool.
So let's hope Nintendo can pull it off.
Let's hope. Yeah, let's hope. Do your best, Nintendo. July 26th, article on Polygon. China's long-standing ban on video game consoles has been completely removed.
Now, we knew this was coming.
Yes. This is a report, Wall Street Journal reported this, but this means that game consoles can be made and sold anywhere in the country now, which was not the case as of 2000. Which allowed it only for sale in an 11-mile trade zone around Shanghai.
Okay.
Yeah, but the console makers have found all the restrictions they're annoying, basically. They're time-consuming, and it's just a lot to take on. So China's like, yeah, never mind. They got rid of it. Their cultural ministry were the ones who enacted the ban because they wanted to shield the youth from the corrupting influence of video games.
Well, duh.
Of course.
Haven't you seen Hatred? Jesus.
But in the 15 years since then, video gaming's become so much more mainstream as like a leisure activity in the West. And with And China's been kind of moving into it more with like Call of Duty Online and their PC gaming market and all that stuff. And they have this PC gaming market, so it kind of hit the point where it's like, oh, I guess video games are just a fun hobby. Maybe we should not be crazy about this anymore. So they decided not to. The Xbox One launched there about a year ago. PS4 and Vita launched in March. And Nintendo has expressed interest in launching consoles here, but they haven't said what plans they have for China.
Yeah, they had. I think the last rumor that we had on that was that they were developing a console specifically for the Chinese market.
But we haven't heard anything else about that.
But yeah, we haven't heard anything else.
This news is interesting, though, because now China's a big, huge, untapped market that is totally open. So neat.
So yeah, now that the ban is finally completely lifted, we will probably be doing a lot of stories in the future updates to this.
Yep.
Because we're interested to see where it goes.
For sure. Let's talk Half-Life 3.
Oh god, do we have to?
We gotta. Hey everybody, Half-Life 3's coming out!
Wait,
Just kidding!
No, it's not. Wait, yes it is. Wait, no, it's not.
Oh no.
There was all sorts of rumors flying around this week. This is again from Rooster Teeth's news site.
Yeah. And I pulled up a text article from a website called Master Herald that just summarizes those videos, basically.
I might try and pull that up in a minute. But, the Rooster Teeth have a lot of inside sources, or I should say have a lot of inside sources.
Yeah, they're pretty connected to connected to it a lot.
So they talked to a guy who allegedly, and this is my speculation because they couldn't divulge any information about him, but a guy who worked or is working on Half-Life 3. That guy, or gal, I suppose.
Yeah, we don't know.
That source talked about how
this energy being
this energy
that works at Valve.
This strange gremlin that works at Valve. Talked about how they have been working on Half-Life 3 for years and years.
Yes.
But they have had a team of about 10 people on it this whole time.
So they haven't been working on it much.
Not much.
The No reported that the script and events that are supposed to happen in the game are done.
Mm-hmm.
But the game hasn't really gone into full production in any way.
And their reasoning for this, or at least their source was saying the reasoning for this, was because Valve sort of did a cost-benefit analysis on Half-Life 3 and realized that it was not worth making.
Yeah.
The reasoning being that Half-Life 3 has been so ridiculously hyped, if they were in another Duke Nukem situation...
It's Duke Nukem forever.
Yeah. They even if it was good, if it didn't sell particularly well or it got some negative reviews... they might it would overall just hurt their brand.
Yeah.
And because they have Steam, their brand is such a bigger part of how they calculate things.
Yeah, they don't want to risk it.
Yeah.
Essentially.
And that's actually a pretty smart business move to me.
It is. It's also a shame that means we may never see the end of Half-Life.
They also did a thing where they compared how much money Valve is making off of Steam and specifically free-to-play games with microtransactions on Steam, like Team Fortress and all of its crazy hats.
I was just going to mention their hat simulator.
Their hat simulator. And the money they're making off of that, and the staff they have on that, and it's just it's insane how much money they're making. Millions and millions and millions of dollars. So to take staff off of that to make a game that could potentially make less money than their hat simulator makes.
It's foolish.
It just doesn't make sense.
They need those people to 3D model hats.
Yeah. That's all the money.
They 3D model all these hats. Sell these hats. Everyone wants hats.
Everybody wants
hats.
Maybe someday...
The game's not about shooting people. It's about collecting hats.
Maybe someday the bottom will fall out of the hat market.
I don't think so. Hats don't have a bottom.
Oh my god, that quote's going up on our Facebook. But it was interesting. So then the next day, was there anything else about that you wanted to talk about? The initial report?
Not particularly.
The next day, somebody who works at Valve, who they did name, but whose name I have forgotten, contacted the No, had a whole email conversation with them saying hey, whoever your source is, they're full of BS.
Mm-hmm.
This is what's really happening. This is why it's really happening. Now, that guy did not say whether they were making Half-Life 3. He would not comment on that.
It was Gabe Newell. I guarantee you it was Gabe Newell. He was just hey.
I just totally forgot the name of the actual guy. It's on our Facebook. Look it up. I'm not going to look it up right now. I'm too busy running a show. But no, but what he did say is that he debunked a lot of the things of their original source.
Yeah.
Saying things like, the script is not completed because that's not how we make games. We don't make a script ahead of time and then make the game around it. We start making the game and then develop the story. And I'm That sounds like a worse way to make a game, but okay.
I mean, Half-Life 1 and 2 were fine.
Yeah, I guess. So. That's how you made those? Okay, I trust
Half-Life 2's actually got great writing.
It does.
It's really good.
Yeah. But yeah, he said that, and what else did he say? He said some other stuff. He said the angle at which they had covered the story originally, where they had said, like, Valve might be afraid to release Half-Life 3 because of the fan backlash.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's something I didn't delve into. The fan backlash aspect of it, which was another point from their original video. Not just the monetary thing, but the idea that the internet and gamers on the internet react very differently to games now than they did when Half-Life 2 came out. Specifically, they act much more hostile.
Yeah.
So if you get a bad game, you can like get a whole lot of death threats and doxing and swatting and all sorts of things.
It's great. Don't make bad video games.
Yeah, pretty much. So that was one of the things that they had said in the original video, was like, maybe Valve is afraid to do this because if Half-Life 3 ends up being bad and it causes like this huge negative internet reaction,
which it would.
Which it would if it was bad.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Then that could be way terrible scary for Valve. And the spokesman who responded to that was saying, like, Valve's not scared of that. You're being silly.
No, but they are.
But I think they totally are. Like, I think that guy is a spokesperson and he needs to say stuff like that.
Well, I mean, look what happened with the whole mod sales thing.
Oh, totally.
They're clearly afraid of huge internet backlash.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's an actual thing that happened that proves it. How about this article from Polygon on the 25th of July?
Guillermo!
Even though Silent Hills was canceled by Konami, Guillermo del Toro and Hideo Kojima are still in touch and we're working on doing something together.
Just because their game got canceled doesn't mean they're not still best buds.
Right? I like the idea of these two just hanging out.
They do!
Apparently they do!
Like, there are pictures.
It's fantastic. Because Guillermo del Toro has a thick Spanish accent and Hideo Kojima can't speak English.
This sounds amazing.
Imagine this happening. This is like, they must just speak to each other through coy facial expressions.
Best buddy cop movie ever.
Oh my god. Koji and Gil. Make it happen, Hollywood. Oh my god. So, Del Toro told IGN that he and Kojima are still in touch, working on doing something together. It won't be Silent Hills, obviously. That game was actually still in planning stages when it was canceled. But people think that might not be true, given that PT was completed and they showed Norman Reedus in the trailer.
It doesn't sound true at all. Yeah. You have playable gameplay of your game.
Right. Del Toro said that he was really surprised at Konami's scorched earth approach to just getting rid of this.
Who wouldn't be?
Yeah, who wouldn't be? Everybody was, because they're still just systematically eliminating all mention of Kojima from the world.
Because they need to make slot machines, man.
They gotta make them. That pachinko money, so good. We don't know what Kojima and Del Toro are going to do together. I'm sure whatever it ends up being, it'll be super cool. And now it's anyone's game, because they can kind of just do whatever the hell they want.
So I guess the hope is that they'll go the ukulele route and make a game that's not called Silent Hills, but is Silent Hills. Quiet Mountain. Loud Ravine.
Loud Ravine! Obnoxious Trench.
But no, so that's the hope. And the only thing... But then will they go to Kickstarter to get their funding? Dude, that's a Kickstarter that would succeed in, less than 24 hours.
Pretty much instantaneously.
If there was a video of Kojima and Guillermo del Toro hanging out saying, hey, we wanted to make this game called Silent Hills, but we couldn't. So we're going to make this other game that's like that. Everyone would be like, oh my god, take my money.
Would you like a horror game made by both of us? Give us $10.
Oh my god, it would just... It's insane how quickly that would be funded if they did that.
I hope they still make a horror thing. I want to see them make a horror game together, because I think they could make something really cool. Especially with maybe Del Toro. What if they could make, like, an H.P. Lovecraft Mountains of Madness, like, game?
Oh my god, so good.
Because, I mean, Del Toro's probably never getting that movie made.
No, he's not.
But, like, what if they did a game? Oh, baby.
With Norman Reedus in it.
With Norman Reedus in it. Running from Shoggoths. Oh, so good.
It would be amazing. But yeah, one of the only things that I was reading that is the grain of salt you need to take this with is, as we know from Mountains of Madness, Guillermo del Toro has had a lot of projects he has been working on that he has said, oh no, I mean, I definitely want to make this. Yeah. And it's never happened.
Yeah. So, he's one of those guys who is like, I want to make this. I really want to make this, but he may never be able to make it.
I'm not saying it's his fault. I'm just saying he dreams big.
He got Pacific Rim made.
And he's got Pacific Rim 2 greenlit.
On the way in 2017.
So, I take it back. We're gonna...
I don't know how that guy got that budget for Pacific Rim 1.
I don't know how he got the budget for Pacific Rim 2. Pacific Rim 1 did okay, but
it did fine. But its budget was like $290 million, so there's a lot to just make back.
Yeah.
But we're not a movie show. What are we doing? Oh no.
I should mention Allison Street, though. I forgot to send you an article about that. It was an interesting game I heard about. It's PT. It's an indie studio, I believe, in the UK, being like, they're not going to make Silent Hills, so
we'll make like a full PT.
Yeah, and that you can. There's an 11-minute gameplay thing. That's basically the gameplay goes exactly like PT, except it's a different house. The graphics are also really, really good. They look probably maybe not quite as good as PT, but for an indie studio,
looks really good.
Yeah, like for an indie studio, they look amazing.
Okay,
and you can walk around this house and go in the backyard, and it looks very nice.
Like PT is gorgeous.
Yes. And then as you're walking through the house, like different doors lock and unlock, and different and like weird spooky things start happening, and then like a ghost shows up at the end.
Oh, spooky!
Yeah. And the idea is that's going to be a full game that's just going to be a continuation of that kind of gameplay.
That's fine.
Yeah, it looks interesting. It's worth checking
out. A haunted house sim kind of thing. Mm-hmm. World of Warcraft's 6th expansion pack is going to be revealed next week at Gamescom.
Oh god, I forgot they're going to do another expansion. It's already that time again.
Draenor like just came out, it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't just come out, but it definitely feels
that
way.
Like it just came out, which is partly maybe because I don't play WoW anymore, so it's like I heard about it, and now I'm hearing about this. Reveal the expansion. It'll be live streamed August 6th through the 9th. There's only 2 major content patches that have hit for Warlords of Draenor, so a lot of people think that this expansion announcement is actually hitting like way earlier than we thought.
Well, it is only an announcement. Maybe there'll still be a long time before it actually.
I mean, maybe
happens.
What do you think they're gonna do next? We got Burning Crusade going to Outland. We got Wrath of the Lich King going to Northrend. We got Cataclysm with Deathwing messing up regular Azeroth. We got Pandas. We got and then we got Draenor back in time. Go hang out with old school orcs.
Yeah.
In not blown up Outland.
You know,
what do you think?
It seems like they're way overdue for another goofy one, like Pandas.
You think?
But I don't know how well Pandas did for them financially, and I feel like it wasn't that well compared to the other ones.
Yeah.
So hopefully they'll make another serious one, because that's what I would rather have than Pandas again. Or something. Because I just think about Hearthstone, right?
Yeah.
And how Hearthstone goes the goofier route.
Yeah, it's the silly side of Warcraft stuff.
So I really don't want another an expansion that would be like gnomes and goblins making silly mechs.
Oh, look at that!
Oh, they've got.
Can you believe it? There's a robot bird.
They've got explosives.
The joke is that it blows up.
But I feel that's what we will see.
So you're feeling like a goofy expansion pack. I think they're finally going to do the Emerald Dream.
I forgot about that.
Everybody did.
My Warcraft lore is
your lore
rusty.
Is weak.
Yeah.
You're back in the original, like the vanilla game. There were a ton of things suggesting that bad news was happening in the Emerald Dream, and I don't know if that's been addressed in any of these subsequent expansions. Like, I don't know if it just was addressed like, oh, it was Deathwing, and then he came back and that stuff happened. But either way, the Emerald Dream in Warcraft world is like an alternate reality that druids can go to of the world if civilization had never happened. So I feel like maybe something cool could happen with that. And like green dragons live there. And like all the stuff in the vanilla game was talking about some nightmare that had started in the Emerald Dream that was like corrupting everything.
That's cool.
Because Warcraft, everything gets corrupted. That's how it works. You get corrupted.
This orc was a good guy, but then he got corrupted.
He got corrupted. Oh, Lich King, he got corrupted. Arthas got corrupted real bad.
Everybody gets corrupted.
Everybody got corrupted. Deathwing, he just got corrupted.
It's a metaphor for AIDS Day. That's the real world of Warcraft.
The real world of Warcraft is the war on AIDS. So Emerald Dream, if it would be a more serious one, but I feel like I don't know if, like I said, I don't know if that stuff's been addressed, but like it would be cool. It's either that or they're going to go to space. And fight,
they sort of already did, though, with the Draenei stuff.
Yeah, but they gotta fight Sargeras.
That's true.
You gotta beat him up, and then have the lore be... And then 40 random people beat up God Satan and saved the universe. They did it. And then Pro Kegster 55 slew the ancient Titan and freed Azeroth for all time.
Let's skip that.
You're gonna skip that?
Do an quick update from a story we did last week.
We talked about the HD re-release of Odinsphere Leiftrasir, coming out in Japan this January. It, like, literally right after we did our show last week, was confirmed for a Western release date, with a full physical release and everything. We don't have a date exactly, except for 2016, but it's coming out, which is really exciting. I'm going to be picking that up. It'll be good.
Game releases.
What do we got?
Well, it's the 1st today?
It is the 1st.
August 1st, 2015. Do I know? Oh, on the 4th, Galaxy Z, the Dimensional, coming out for PS4.
Yeah, what is that?
That is a really sweet indie shmup.
Oh, okay.
But they announced, like, a couple weeks ago, or maybe it was, like, earlier this week, and I just forgot to, like, put the story in our rotation. You can transform a ship into a mech.
Oh!
Because it's inspired by Japan.
Even though it's inspired by Japan.
Even though it's
How did I not know about this game?
I feel like I told you about it.
Did you?
It was at the last PAX. It was like a really big deal. I feel like we talked about it.
Did we? I want to play this.
No, it looks radical.
It looks really cool.
And you have a PS4, so you can totally get it on there. Although I think it's going to come out for other stuff eventually.
I am a little sad, though. I don't have an Xbone to play the other cool game that's coming out on the 4th.
The Rare Replay. Which isn't just one, but 30 games.
30 games for $40.
I mean, I would love to just play Perfect Dark Zero Spar.
Right? Or I just want to play Banjo-Kazooie and Tooie again.
Yeah.
High-definition bears. That's what I want. Jinjos. Jinjo!
I mean, that's pretty much the stuff that's coming out before our next episode.
Yeah, there's nothing else that's really that exciting.
But
Goat Simulator, a PS3 and 4, Garfield Kart for 3DS.
Well, those are all on the 11th, which is before our next episode. So
why does Garfield Kart take me to a page about a German media enterprise?
Uh-oh.
What does this have to do with Garfield? Does everybody at German media enterprise Koch Media hate Mondays?
This is some shovelware if I've ever seen
No, that's a bad sign.
Yeah, but no, yeah, Galaxy, the Dimensional, and Rare Replay.
That's what you look
Get
for.
amped.
If you like JRPGs, check out Etrian Odyssey 2 Untold, the Fafnir Night. Because I bet that sure is one.
I like how they tried to make it sound Nordic by putting Fafnir in there,
Dude,
but we know it's Japanese.
It's gonna be
not
way
tricking us.
It's just like Odinsphere. You got Odin in there and some word, Leiftrasir. I don't know what that means. Anyway, this has been Don't Copy That Floppy.
Thank you guys for listening. Please check us out on social media, such as the Facebook, the YouTube, the Steam, the Twitter,
and the iTunes. We have an archive on the iTunes.
On the iTunes and also on chipit.net.
Which you should also check out.
Yeah, just check out the channel in general. Run by a great guy. Great British guy.
Yeah, the greatest.
And on all of those social medias, we are Don't Copy That Floppy, except on Twitter, we are at DCTF Podcast.
That is correct.
But yeah, interact with us on social media. We'd love to interact with you.
We'll interact back. Smack, smack, sugar smack, give me a smack, I'll smack you back. That's what they say.
That's what they say.
On cereal commercials. And with that, we will see you next week, or you'll hear us next week, whatever you want to say.
And remember,
don't copy that floppy.